We're going to ensure that President Trump has Congress for all 4 years. We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
Way to jump the gun. Erika Kirk raised a few eyebrows during her speech at AmericaFest over the weekend by publicly endorsing JD Vance for president in 2028, despite the fact he has not yet announced plans to run. Cenk, your 2 cents before we get into the rest.
Yeah, we're gonna show you a poll in a second of how the different contenders are doing. What's hilarious is that the polls don't include anyone who can actually win, in my opinion. So, and the second part is Erika Kirk endorsing JD Vance this early is curious. And others have also noted how curious it is. So come back and talk about both those things.
Word of the day, curious. Let's get to that poll Cenk talked about. According to the latest Real Clear Politics polling average, JD Vance leads as the top contender for the Republican nominee with 48.8%. Don Jr., 11%. Marco Rubio, 9%, 9.3%. DeSantis, 9%. Nikki Haley, where's she been? 4.5%. And Kennedy, 4.3%. We'll see. While Trump has been very non-committal on the topic, Erika Kirk has been pushing for it over the past few months. She says it's what her late husband wanted.
That was the thing that my husband was very direct about. It was, interestingly enough, one of the last few conversations we had was how intentional he was about supporting JD for 28.
Yeah, he was totally behind JD, and he was largely 100%. Responsible for Trump picking JD.
Marco Rubio also backed the idea, telling Vanity Fair this: if JD Vance runs for president, he's going to be our nominee, and I'll be one of the first people to support him. But is this really what Republicans want? Let's go back to that polling, shall we? A survey by Atlas Intel shows that while the largest proportion of Republicans, 46.7%, would pick Vance in a hypothetical contest between him, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and other figures, this is less than the 54.6% of support he accrued in Atlas Intel September polling. A few top Republicans have already refused to endorse him, including Rand Paul. Watch.
I know it's early. What do you make of this? Is JD Vance the heir apparent here?
I think there needs to be representatives in the Republican Party who still believe international trade is good, who still believe in free market capitalism, who still believe in low taxes. See, it used to separate conservatives and liberals. The conservatives thought it was a spending problem. We didn't want more revenue. We wanted less spending. But now all these pro-tariff protectionists, they love taxes. And so they tax, and then they brag about all the revenue coming in. That has never been a conservative position. So I'm going to continue to try to lead a conservative free market wing of the party, and we'll see where things lead over time.
And that's not JD Vance.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so Rand Paul saying don't crown him just yet. Surprisingly, Lindsey Graham is also in that camp. Lindsey sidestepped the question entirely when asked on NBC if he would join slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika Kirk, in endorsing Vance. I'm worried about tomorrow, but that's a big day for JD. He somewhat cryptically told the network, quickly pivoting to praise President Donald Trump, escalation of tensions with Venezuela. But after Vance's speech at AmericaFest, I wouldn't be surprised if more people hopped on the bandwagon. Cenk, it's so early, as you said. You teased that there's no way anybody on that polling list could win. So what does happen? What shakes out here? And why was Rubio so quick to say, oh, I don't want this, when we believe, or at least I do, that he entered this administration because he saw it as a next step?
So the establishment jury seems to be in. It looks like they're going JD Vance, Rubio as a ticket. Trump even talked about it. And he said, oh, Vance is great and Rubio's really good. My God, if they partnered up, that would be formidable. That's why Rubio's going, oh, no, I'm good with it, I'm good with it. He'd love a VP slot. And so the fact that the establishment is supporting Vance so thoroughly, all the way through to Erika Kirk, I think is an interesting sign. I wouldn't be on the side of the establishment if I'm on either party. And so the fact that the donor class seems to be thrilled with JD Vance is a huge warning sign, if you ask me, to America First, MAGA, etc., that he might not be the right guy. And I think that in the beginning they were non-committal. In fact, when Trump was first asked about it, he's like, I don't know. And that's the correct answer, by the way. Nobody knows now. And why do we have to decide now? It's like years from now. So part of the reason that the mainstream media asks about it is because they love the horse race stuff, right? They don't want to comment on policy because then they'll be called biased. But horse race is safe, so they like that kind of stuff. But the second reason is when you ask early on, like in 2016, it's a trick. So who's going to win the Democratic primary? And they would ask in the year 2015, the year before. And everybody on TV would go, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton. It has to be Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton. It's a way of doing propaganda and marketing, right? So then somebody, a lone voice, if ever, almost never, right? But I would scream from the internet, and very rarely I'd make it onto TV and say, Bernie Sanders. And then the whole table would laugh, Bernie Sanders. So that's what they're doing in this case. And the fact that they're doing it in favor of JD Vance speaks volumes. So now JD was a little naughty though at TPUSA, at the AmericaFest thing, where he didn't agree with Ben Shapiro about canceling every single person that doesn't agree with Israel. So then Isaac Schorr, another Israel First guy at Mediaite, who loves to call everybody Jew haters, jumps out and goes, oh, you have to condemn the Jew haters. And JD Vance was not supine enough. He did not grovel at Israel's feet enough. He's been a naughty boy. So that's a warning to JD Vance. Okay, not that Isaac's that powerful, he's just a random pipsqueak, but like he's just a symbolic of the Israel First crowd. And every once in a while, when someone in public doesn't 200% support Israel, they'll start to write dirty articles about it. Oh, it's a questionable moral character, Jew hater, etc., etc. And that's how they smear people. So that's a little warning shot to JD. Hey, you better get back in line, okay? And JD's apparently sophisticated enough, savvy enough to know I should pretend to be America First at a minimum before I get into office. And then of course I'll be Israel first. And Palantir first, and Peter Thiel first, and Silicon Valley first, etc. So Rand Paul, of course, is not going to agree to this because Rand Paul is probably going to run against them. So keep it real on that. And he's right, there is huge differences on things like war and taxes and tariffs, etc. And then finally, none of these people on the list, it's not that they don't have a chance. JD Vance certainly has a chance. I don't think Rubio does. I don't think Trump Jr. does. DeSantis, Haley, Kennedy Jr. No, those guys don't have a chance. No, I think the leading candidate is Tucker Carlson. They won't put him in a poll because they're like, he's been canceled. And the idea that someone on TV or radio would run or online, oh, no way. No, we only pick reality hosts like Donald Trump and actors like Ronald Reagan, okay? So I think Tucker's most likely to win. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene and Massey, I don't know that they'll run, but they could be interesting. They could be interesting characters in this. I think Tucker beats all these guys easily. I don't, and I think that he'll, but I don't know. Like there's a lot of games behind the scenes that I don't know, Sharon, right? So far Tucker seems to be on Vance's side. I'm not sure I believe it, and I don't know what to make of it, but sometimes people are on somebody's side until they're not, right? So we'll see how it goes. But if you haven't, this I do know. If there is a clear Israel First candidate and a clear America First candidate in a Republican primary in 2028, the America First candidate will win by a landslide. So that's why Israel First has to work around the clock now to try to prevent any America First candidate from running, because they'll trump the whole thing and be able to win.
I mean, I know we're not supposed to do this, but if Tucker were to win the nomination, who does he partner up with? Candace, his friend?
No.
Somebody else?
No.
I mean, then he get more establishment.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true. But it does keep you updated on our live shows.